How is insurance handled in divorce? Hi, I'm Bill Farias, founder and CEO of Farias Family Law. We are a divorce and custody firm in Southern Massachusetts. And this issue comes up all the time. People are getting divorced and they need to figure out what they're going to do about insurance coverage. There are two primary insurance types that are handled in divorce. Number one, health insurance, and number two, life insurance. So, first, let's talk about health insurance. First of all, there has to be some type of coverage in place for children if there are dependent children of the marriage. Usually, it's the payor of child support who is providing health insurance coverage for the children. If not, it may be because the recipient has a more cost effective plan, but either way, health insurance costs, that is, family plan costs for the individual covering the children, and also individual health insurance costs for the other parent not covering the children, those premium costs are baked into the child support guidelines. And so those costs are essentially redistributed between the parties in the form of child support. So usually you need to figure out who's going to cover the children and add those numbers or factor in those numbers into the child support guidelines to figure out how it impacts support. The next issue on health insurance is coverage for the spouse. Most providers are not covering ex-spouses these days. So if the provider does not cover the spouse post-divorce, then usually that person has to go out and get some health insurance coverage. And if that's the case, then the cost of that coverage has to be or should be factored into the financial arrangement going forward. So we typically see this in alimony cases where the high earner is covering the lower earner, and then post-divorce, that person has to get off the plan. And so what usually happens in that situation is if there is an alimony issue, then the cost of health insurance coverage for the spouse essentially getting booted off the plan should be factored into the alimony calculation. In other words, it is relevant to that person's financial needs going forward. And so that has to be accounted for in figuring out what alimony should look like. So you're dealing with health insurance for the kids, you're dealing with health insurance for the spouse. In the event that the soon-to-be ex-spouse can stay on the plan, and there are some providers that allow for this, then usually what we do is we have the soon-to-be ex-spouse who is not the lead person on the plan provide any reimbursement for the cost of that individual to the person carrying the plan. So in other words, if your ex is going to remain on your plan and you're paying an extra amount to cover that individual, then that individual should reimburse you at least monthly for the amount that you're paying extra to keep him or her on the plan. So that's how health insurance works. Life insurance, usually there's life insurance in place, and that is to provide a safety net in the event that there is a support obligation. And so if there are children involved, then you may have the spouses covering each other on a term life plan just in case something happens to one of the parties, so that the other party who is essentially going to be taking on the children full time will have some kind of financial foundation or help if the other party passes away. And then also we have life insurance on some alimony cases. So if there is going to be alimony post-divorce, then in some cases it makes sense to provide some insurance for that payment. In the event that the payor passes away, there will at least be something for the recipient. So that's how health and life insurance are handled in divorce. If you have any other questions about this, you can call us 508-675-0464. You can email us at info@fariasfamilylaw.com. And if you found this video helpful, you can subscribe to our channel, share it with anyone you think might benefit from it, and you can find us on social at Farias Family Law. Thank you. Have a good day.